So, good afternoon. My name is Helmut Schmerniak from HELIOS Software. I like to show you something about our new UB64 capability, the synchronization service. And for this, we have a little press release here where we launched desktop or HELIOS DT-Sync, which is a synchronization solution to synchronize data. And here is the original press release. However, for UB64, we did a lot of new changes, and I like to show this. And before I go into the details, the whole scope of the synchronization service is to offer highest performance, to be really reliable, and to be very easy to use. So you can sync disk to disk, volume to volume, or just a folder to folder, and I will dive into this in a second. So before or actually let's do a tour, and let's start HELIOS admin. So what we did new for UB64, we added to the administrations, instead of, or in addition to users, volumes, and hot folder workflows, we added one tab syncs. And syncs contain the different synchronizations. And I set it up 3 different syncs. One is a sync which works every hour to create a second copy of my project volume. Another one works every midnight, and let's look into this midnight version. So I see, okay, here I have my midnight synchronization, and it starts every day at 12 o'clock and creates a backup of my volume data to a backup disk or backup RAID system. So I have another one which works only once in a week, Friday in the late evening, 10 o'clock. And basically this is creating a backup to an NFS share to have a second copy, in this case in a second building, for the synchronization. So basically the synchronizations are entered in the HELIOS admin in syncs. You see a list here, and when I go to the setting, I can see, okay, the sync hourly goes from this location to this location. In this case, it's just a folder, it's not an entire volume. And every day, except for weekends, or at least European and American weekends. And yeah, so it's this little you need to enter. You can also specify send an email when it's finished. With comma separated, you can also add multiple email users, and then we send a notification once the sync is completed. So for this hourly backup, I created also a volume called Altona Sync Backup, and this volume I have mounted here. And let's go to this, and that's my sync. I remove all items. Now the items disappear because they are removed. And let's go to syncs. And this sync hourly works every hour, but I like to do a demo now, so I go to the settings, and here I can see, okay, it was 11 o'clock, it was last running. So let's start it immediately. It starts. This is a very simple example. It told me 41 megabytes synced, and let's look to the volume. Okay, voila, data is back because I synced it back. This also shows you a very special capability that the destination disk or volume or area for the sync can be just a HELIOS volume to be published via Ethershare for Mac clients, PCShare for Windows clients, and WebShare for remote web users. Being able to see the backup volume or sync volume just to restore some data or to pull other information or just to make it transparent, visible. Which also means if there is a problem with the main data storage, for example, the main rate goes down, I can just enable a volume going to the backup location, and within a minute the data is online again. So, talking about some details with the sync, I made some notes here. The synchronization service basically can go from disk to disk, which is just taking the entire disk storage. It doesn't matter if it's a Helios volume or not. It copies it to a second disk, volume to volume, or just like I did in my case, project folder we are working on to a backup location to a second disk, maybe an hourly synchronization just to have backup copies in case something is needed instead of losing some data. I have some additional notes here, and the whole synchronization is not this easy, because the synchronization means special file names and folder names with umlauts and special characters like Unicode needs to be preserved and supported. Also, there are file dates like a creation date, a modification date, a backup date. All this needs to be preserved when we do a synchronization, or in this case, a second copy with DT-Sync, or the synchronization services. Resource information, often Macintosh specific, Windows Filestreams, extended attributes these days supported by Mac and Windows, but now Macs are starting using extended attributes for metadata like Spotlight, Finder text, etc. Owner and group memberships, basically the IDs of the owners needs to be preserved, because on the second location you like to have exactly the same copy without losing any information. Same is true for file permissions, and also some tricky things like the G+S bits for the group file permissions, which means on folders when you create a new file that automatically the group is inherited to the new file. All this needs to be preserved, and that's very, very important. And this also means doing a Finder or Windows copy or just a Unix copy is not sufficient, because it will not preserve everything you have. So that's why we developed DT, to make it very easy to use and to preserve all the data. And then we have some server-specific capabilities. Of course, when we do a sync, we need to update the desktop database, we need to update the Spotlight full-text index database. We may need to create file events to trigger hot folder workflows, and as I specified, it's possible to mount the sync volume, and here I have my sync, and just to repeat it one more time, delete something, and I have a backup disk here where I remove as well the backup, just to make sure that everything is removed. Again, go to sync and run the hourly sync, which goes very quickly because it has oh, it's already completed, isn't it? Yeah, it's completed. It goes very, very quickly. So the second one, it's a little bit more complex. It has more data, and that's a full backup of the volume. So let's force to sync this now instead of waiting until midnight. And you see it starts syncing the data to the second disk. We have a status window here, which means it's good to observe how many files have been scanned, how many directories have been scanned, and we are working now for 20 seconds. Again, this is only a sample test volume, but it already copied 2 gigabytes, and it's continuing, and at some point it will be finished. So I explained that we have as well the option to put in email notification, but I think more important is, and it's still running here, more important is that we have in the list the sync log file, and I can go to today's log file and see all the sync jobs. Every sync job has a name, and I can see, okay, 4 gigabytes have been transferred, 3,500 files about, and because it was all new, nothing has been skipped, and nothing has been removed. So when I work with, now I see it's completed, so 4 GB of data, and it's very important that you don't need to work within Helios admin. You can just set this up, let's say for your different needs, and then quit Helios admin and just check the log files or check your email with the protocol. That stuff works. The backend of DT Sync, the sync service, is the Helios DT command, and it has a sync feature built in, which is new for UB64, and this is being used as a backup or as a backend system to do actually the sync. So the sync service uses DT Sync to make sure that copies are getting made of the data, and it runs natively on the server, so there is no client-server system. It just copies data from one location to another location with our DT Sync tool, which means, or desktop utilities, which means it's very, very efficient, very fast, and very reliable. Okay, so we have seen how it works in Helios admin. One more time, just the information, how to find information on the Helios website. You can either click on this to see the sync press release, or you can click on what is new in UB64 and switch to Helios Base, because it's a part of Base. And here we have this synchronization capability listed, as well as all other capabilities we have new in UB64. So that's it basically for my sync demo, and give it a try with our latest beta release. And I also like to recommend to go to my Google Plus page, and this Google Plus page has an option that you can start discussions. We have here announcements that the beta 3 is available now, and we have also some other articles in there about DT Sync and feedback, and basically discussing with people. You can see, okay, we had a beta 2 discussion here, where some people were discussing information, and we have more information about questions for the virtual server appliance. So it's a good thing to visit my Google Plus page to exchange information and ask your questions and provide feedback.